Well, Matt, Aston Villa, I mean, they were playing in the Champions League the other day. I was watching that, and now they're coming down to little old Wycombe in the Carabao Cup. You must be excited.
Yeah, really excited. I was really fortunate to play in a few of these games as a player, and now to be manager against, welcome a Champions League team to Adams Park is surely going to be I know it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere under the lights. And it's really nice to be able to be manager when the fans are going to have a really special night and the players can enjoy an occasion against a Champions League team. It doesn't happen too often, so we're really looking forward to testing ourselves against them.
This game must evoke some really special memories for you. I know that it wasn't the result that you wanted on the day, but 2005, what a mad game that was when Aston Villa came down to Adams Park and you were 3-1 up at half-time and lost 8-3.
yeah, which I quoted as 7-3 the other day, so I got it wrong. I was trying to look on the positive side. It was one of my most favourite, certainly 45 minutes against Aston Villa. The way we played in the first half, we had a really promising young team at that point. Myself, Russell Martin, Mike Williamson, amongst a few others. And we really felt that we had a big career ahead and we looked forward to the game to test ourselves against Premier League opposition. We played really well first half, 3-1 up. And, that era playing under John Gorman was one of my favourite years just because of how we played. And that probably summed us up that night. We were 3-1 up and we went in at half-time and John asked us to go and get the fourth and kill the game off. Which was just John, absolutely brilliant. I love him to bits. And unfortunately for us, it didn't quite go that way and we conceded 7 second half. But it was one of my most memorable. Favourite 45 in the first half and least favourite second half. But it was a night that certainly lived long in the memory.
Yeah, and of course they had a heck of a good team actually at the time, didn't they? A young Gary Cahill, I think, made his debut that night.
Yeah, he played. And Gareth Barry, James Milner, Juan Pablo Angel. They had a very, very good team, and for us as young players, you obviously go into it with no fear. We were just 21, looking forward to the game, and being 3-1 up was great. But yeah, Villa had a fantastic team at that point, and certainly showed us how to play second half.
Yeah, I think Milan Barros was even in the team, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So what was the feeling afterwards? Was it one of just shock of what had happened?
It was a bit weird, really, because again, it was that shock, but it was also the pride at the way we played first half and what we should take from that. And then there was obviously a capitulation second half, which was not quite nice to be a part of, but it was almost a little bit of a stunned silence, I think, afterwards. And like I say, just the shock of the night and the way it had panned out was bizarre. I'd never played in a game like that up until that point and never played one in the next 20 years of my career. So it was certainly a very, very unique occasion.
And of course, you played them again in 2016. Slightly happier memories in that you held them to a 1-1 draw. They were struggling at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think that helped us on the day because there was a lot of discontent amongst their fan base. There was a couple of incidents after the game, I think, involving one or two of the players and the supporters, voicing their discontent. It was probably a better occasion for us going into a game where we knew if we could lay a glove on them at some point. It was going to make it hard for them, because their supporters would get, unrest and they'd be voicing that. So, it was a good game. I really enjoyed it. I think I won the penalty. We drew 1-1, and then in the replay, at Villa Park, showed how to play properly. They're what you recognise about these top players is when they turn it on, they're just on a completely different level. And have any chance of getting a result out of these games, you have to be at 9 out of 10 and hope that your opponents are at 7 out of 10, because if they're at the top of their game, it's going to be a real tough night for us. Yeah,
I think you did win the penalty in that game, actually. And I think Joe Jacobson put it away, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's always reliable from the spot. JJ's obviously been a friend of mine for a number of years. And he was very reliable from the spot and tucked it away. It was a nice moment in front of the terrace.
But the job that Unai Emery's done there is absolutely nothing short of miraculous, isn't it, really?
Yeah, incredible. I'm really looking forward to meeting him and trying to share 5 minutes if we can and just have a quick chat because, he's at the top of his game, isn't he? Like the job he's done at Aston Villa is like you say, nothing short of miraculous. And an incredible job. They've put a very, very good squad together, full of top internationals. And even if you look at their substitutes and the squad members, they're internationals, they're top players. So we know it's going to be a real tough night. They've got a busy schedule themselves with having Champions Leagues games the week before and the week after us, I believe. So it's something that we have to embrace and look forward to.
Yeah, and is this the first time you've actually come across a top manager in terms of you as a manager? It is, I think it is, isn't it? I don't think you've.
Yeah. Without wanting to do anyone misjustice, I think it probably.
Yeah, in terms of the Premier League, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good opportunity for to pit your wits against him, and obviously all the players, but actually to meet him afterwards, and you do learn a lot, don't you, from those sort of conversations?
Yeah, absolutely, because you always want to try and learn and get better, and just to see, how he conducts himself, how he sets his team up, what happens in game, if they make any changes, what they're looking to do tactically. I'm still in the infancy of my career. I'm not even 2 years in, and I've got loads to learn. So an occasion like this, I really hope is going to be good for myself as well as the football club.
Yeah, because you are Mr. Wycombe, really, aren't you? You've spent all your career here. Obviously, you went and managed Colchester briefly, but as soon as the job became available, you were straight back.
Yeah, I think it was really important that 4.5 months for me, personally, to go to Colchester. I had to risk going and stand on my own 2 feet and failing for it to really work, if that makes sense. I needed to go to Colchester and really prove to myself and everyone else, and the owner, Rob, needed to see that I was capable of doing the job here. It certainly wasn't ever in my aspirations to sit around and wait for the gaffer to leave, to hope for the best. I wanted to go to Colchester and stand on my own 2 feet and succeed, because I knew I would. I really had a deep belief that I would. And I wasn't looking to leave Colchester at that point. I was really happy with the recruitment we did that January. I really enjoyed working for the owner, Robbie, and Dimitri, the sporting director. We'd put a really good squad together. We got manager of the month in January. The staff were onto something, and we really believed that the following season we'd have a chance of getting promoted. That's what we were planning. But then obviously when the opportunity comes up to come here, Rob calls. I went and met him. We discussed it all through. Colchester were happy for me to make the move. So it all just seemed to fit.
What did you learn from your time at Colchester, which has really benefited you since coming back?
How to conduct yourself when you're losing matches. I went there and we were third bottom of, we were 89th or 90th, probably out of 92 in the Football League. So it was a real tough time for the football club. It was about how to evolve that group and how to get them winning games, how to try and take the whole building on the journey, because without the support of all the support staff around the training ground and the stadium, you have no chance of winning football matches. You all have to be pulling in the same direction. And so it was a case of sink or swim for me, really. I'd only just been out of the dressing room a few months, and for Colchester to really put that trust in me, I'll be indebted to Robin and Dimitri for my whole career, really, for them taking the chance. They believed in me, and I'd like to think I paid him back, really, because when I left, we were safe, and like I say, just picked up manager of the month. But I learned that, through tough times, you have to keep picking yourself up off the canvas. Every time you get punched, you've got to get up again on a Monday morning, because when you're a player, you're just part of the group. When you're the manager or the head coach, as I was, everyone looks at you for direction and inspiration and energy and enthusiasm. So you have to be that pillar for people. So there were some extremely tough moments in 4.5 months, especially early on when we were losing games. But we dragged ourselves through it and found a way to pick up results.
One thing that Wycombe has been famed for is its continuity, if you like, because obviously Gareth Ainsworth was here for many, many years. You played for him, of course, and played with him as well. And then the person who takes over from him is somebody who knows the club inside out as well. How important was that, do you think?
I actually think it was a really tough job to take. The Colchester job was a really tough job to take because of their league position. This job was maybe in some ways even harder because the whole football club was ingrained in the previous manager, which it should be, by the way. The gaffer did an incredible job here and had the whole football club, the team, the squad, everything was built around to success and the way he saw it. And so it was a really tough gig to follow him and try not to be just a clone of the manager before, but also not to change too much because everything was a certain way. So it's just, I found it really, really tough to follow someone who'd been so successful for such a long period of time, someone who I loved and respected so much, and to try and bring your own slant and tint on things. And I'm really fortunate. I've got a few really experienced managers who I can lean on at times within the Football League. And one of them said to me when I got the job, the only certainty after Gareth left before was that the next manager would be sacked within a year, because if you look at some of the other really long-serving manager, the next one leaves really, really quickly because it's tough to follow. The thing I was really fortunate about was that I had an owner who believed in me and trusted me, and and absolutely backed me when I needed him to. And so we've managed to come through that and try and build something that we see fit for, that's right for us right now.
Because the thing is, if you ask people who don't know much about Wycombe Wanderers and say, tell us about Wycombe Wanderers, and the first thing they'll say is Gareth Ainsworth and Akafenwa, know. But and of course, quite rightly so. But there's more to Wycombe than that, isn't there? And that you are playing a different type of football nowadays.
I think the thing with the Gaffer and B, they're big personalities and really big characters, and they're very, very well known throughout the Football League and all the clubs. The way I went about my business is just I'm not as big a profile as those guys, and I'm just slightly different. So when I got the job, there'd be a lot less people who knew about me than the Gaffer before and B. But I just have to do the job the way I see fit. And the way I want to do it, and you have to be able to sleep at night knowing you're doing the best you can. So we tried to evolve things slightly, just because we felt it was the right thing to do. The game's evolving all the time. The Football League, League One, is a really tactical, technical, and physical athletic league, and we felt it was right to try and evolve our style in the way that we saw fit.
And of course, we're sitting here at the training ground, which last time I was here, it was QPR's, and it was Chelsea's before that. It's a fantastic facility, isn't it? And it's going to be upgraded as well. This is a bit of a game change for Wycombe, isn't it? Being based here in sort of, in Hayes and Arlington, just down the road from that tube station on the Elizabeth line. Yeah,
I think that it was a massive day, disappointing day when the academy closed in 2012. I was here at that point. The academy produced some incredible, really top talents. Kadeem Harris, Jordan Ibe, some real good players who went on. Courtney House, Premier League footballers. Matt Ingram, some of these boys came through our academy and had real good careers. So for that to fold was really disappointing. And I think the supporters have been, really hoping that one day it'd start back up again. So for the ownership group to come in now and to restart that, bring us to a facility here, which, once the upgrades are done, it's going to be an incredible place to work. So it's a really exciting time for the football club because suddenly the aspirations of the place have been lifted. So it's a long build from the ownership group. They're not looking to spend loads on the squad right now and do it that way. They want it to be built in the correct manner, promote from within, promote youth and build it in a responsible manner. And I'm really hope I can implement that for them.
What sort of upgrades are happening to the training ground?
So there's a new pitch that's been put on out the front. The change rooms have been redone because they wanted to have our own facility and kept. New offices have been put in that we've just moved into. So like I say, once it's done and the players are settled, it's going to be incredible. But already we've seen the fruits of their labour getting us down here, and I'm looking forward to working here for longer.
Because what I like about it, you're only half an hour away from Wycombe, aren't you? So you're still close to Wycombe, but actually you've got this big London catchment area that you can tap into as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's played into their thinking with the academy. You need to be within a decent catchment area. It's been incredible that we've recruited Jeremy to lead the academy, and I've had a couple of meetings with Jeremy already and good interactions with him. He seems like a very, very sound person, and obviously done a great job over the years at different academies across London, including building the Wimbledon one. So great experience to have him on board, and I'm sure that's played into the owners' thinking in terms of bringing us to here. So great catchment area, and I've got high hopes because I love this club. I've been here a long time, and for the supporters and everyone around it to have really high hopes for the future and full of optimism is really exciting.
Yeah, because as I say, you've been here, literally to the whole journey pretty much, haven't you, in terms of the most recent success. Mm-hmm. But I suppose you get to that, not glass ceiling, but it can feel like a glass ceiling. And this is sort of the thing that can perhaps take the club to another level.
Yeah, because we've referenced it a couple of times. I have been a long time, apart from the 4.5 months at Colchester, but that was a real indication of my independence in terms of wanting to go and make better for myself. I needed to go elsewhere to prove that. And now the ceiling's been raised for this place. Obviously, I never wanted it to be gifted to me because I've been here a long time. I certainly didn't want to be that guy. But now, as a football club, we have an opportunity to make ourselves better. And we're fully embracing that. It's going to be small steps. We don't want to get too carried away with ourselves because there's a huge amount of money being spent in League One, and to try and do that straight away would have been wrong for the ownership group. They're doing it in a respectable, structured way to build from within, and there's exciting times.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you actually about the spending that's been going on in League One this season. Birmingham's relegation and the amount of money they've spent, it's gone off the charts, hasn't it? I mean, and we've got Wrexham, of course, that are, they've got good resources as well. But even Phil Parkinson admitted every player he tried to sign had been taken by Birmingham.
Yeah.
How much has it changed this division this season? It does seem very strong.
Yeah, this summer was a summer like no other in terms of the money being spent and the signings being made. Even squads that were maybe mid-table last year, even below mid-table, have gone and spent huge sums of money recruiting young prospects and players for the future. So, there's been a massive shift in the spending power within League One. And I think that you'll find a lot of clubs are spending more than what they did last year, but maybe not any higher up the league table of spending, if that makes sense, because the top has just risen incredibly so. You've got the three teams come down from last year, Birmingham, Huddersfield and Rotherham, all really big clubs in their own right. The clubs that came up from League Two, Wrexham and Stockport, really, really big clubs who are spending really, really well and done their recruitment extremely well. Mansfield are, obviously under Nigel, a really well-run club as well, and Crawley, who Scott Lindsay's done an incredible job for. Plus, you've got the players in our division who didn't get promoted last year: Barnsley, Bolton, Peterborough. It's obviously a really competitive league and one that's exciting to be a part of.
And just finally, what are the expectations this season for you?
The expectations for me is to improve the group, improve the squad, improve the team. We're trying to evolve the playing style. We're trying to imprint what the ownership group are trying to do moving forward. We're trying to promote youth. We're trying to recruit younger and move the group forward. I have huge expectation of myself in the work that I'm doing with the group and for the football club. You can never predict the results, and I think it'd be naive of me to put anything like that on record, but we're certainly looking to improve ourselves and the group that we've got, and hopefully that'll play out in results.
And Aston Villa, just enjoy it, try to win, but just enjoy the occasion as well.
Yeah, I think it's something that we need to embrace. It's absolutely something we need to embrace. We have to look forward to testing ourselves against incredible opposition, against an incredible manager and a group of staff that are doing great things in the Premier League and have transformed their football club into now a Champions League group. And we also have to believe in ourselves, because if we don't believe in ourselves, there's no point going out on Tuesday night in a competitive football match. We have to believe in what we're doing, we have to believe in how we're going to approach the game, and we have to dream big.